y'all kill them. Kill a big one.
Yep. I got 5 opportunities. Just waiting.
Something's gonna die. The over-under was 2, right? Is that what we all basically said?
Why are you shaking?
It's just past noon on opening day, so people are starting to get all their stuff ready, leave camp. Probably leave in a couple hours here maybe. The spot that we're going to, I'm not too worried about other hunters getting there first. So, pretty exciting. It's still pretty early. We got, I think, a little over 7 hours of shooting light left, but we wanted to get in early, and if we do kick deer out of this area, because there could be deer bedded close, we give them plenty of time to settle back down. Got a good wind, a safe wind for us, but based on the tracks we saw yesterday with the same wind, we think the deer are still using that area with that wind direction. So, here we go. So we're back into this area where we're seeing some deer sign. It's not as heavy as it was at the beginning, so it's starting to get more spread out. We're getting closer to bedding. And we're at kind of a fork here where we've got a little inside corner of the trees here, and it's just like brush beyond. So we can see a trail of fresh tracks heading that way. The question is, do we go and set up right there, or set up basically on this little pinch point here? Or do we try and keep going the direction where we think on the map the deer would be bedding? We can also see tracks before that were kind of headed that direction. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try and push this way just a little bit further, see if we can't find some fresh sign. And if we don't, then we come right back here and hunt in this area. Starting to go real slow and trying to pick the exact right tree. There's a tree behind us that would be perfect, except that there's another tree in front of it, which the foliage blocks all the shooting lanes to this side. This lone tree right here out in this marsh grass leans at probably a 30-degree angle, but I could shoot 2 directions, so that might not be bad. I can shoot to that trail on this ridge, and I can shoot to that flat up there in case there's deer walking around up on that CRB. I'm just trying to decide if I should push this up a little bit further, or if we should just stop right here. So I'll probably just have to sit and think about it for a few minutes. So we probably spent the last 20-30 minutes trying to figure out how to set up here. We're either having trees where I can have good shootability, Sam can film, or vice versa. And it's really tough to figure out a 2-person setup in here that we can both shoot and see. This tree right here is really good for me to just duck in there and just have 2 little windows I can shoot to either out in the marsh grass or up on this ridge. So we're trying to figure out if I hunt there, where would Sam be able to set up? And as you can see, it's a super leaning tree, so us being able to get into that same tree isn't ideal, but it may be the best option that we have. Well, I think it took a little bit over an hour for us to get set up. I'm sure it did. This tree was a pain in the butt. But we're set up now. We're on the downwind side of this little pond, and I could see deer bedding. I could presume deer bedding up in a lot of that brush that's up on the other side of the pond. And we got some nice marsh grass here. There's some trails with fresh tracks going in and out. So if deer are going to come from the downwind side of that pond to try and get through this area, they could come through here. I have a couple shooting lanes into the woods here. And then I can also shoot out into this marsh, clear out to almost the edge of the pond. But clear out to 35 yards, I got good shooting. It's kind of an uncomfortable set. because this tree is leaning more than you'd like, for sure. So I'm pretty much gonna have to stand the entire hunt. Just fingers crossed that there's other deer back here. The sign says there is. Sam is underneath me right now, which is not ideal from a filming standpoint, but we couldn't really do it the other way around. Just the way that this tree sets up. I'm not gonna be shooting. I couldn't physically shoot past her anyway, so not too concerned from a safety aspect. She at least has some pockets where she can see and film into the areas where I'd potentially get shots at deer. We could hear a deer blowing out on the other end of this brush. But the wind is just like we thought. It's going the right way, so something else spooked that deer that we can hear blowing way out there. It's gotta be a couple 100 yards. Maybe it'll come this way.
He's a nice one. Nice one, Garrett.
Can you see him?
Yep.
Well, assuming we don't see anything in the next about 10 minutes or so till legal closing, that makes 4 does and 3 bucks that we've seen on stand. I would have thought that the deer in here would be skirting around the downwind side in this shaded, nice little thick wooded area in this marsh grass. But it turns out they just went on the other side of that open field, just walked right out in the open near some of that brush. So they weren't too far from cover, but they went right through that treeless area. If we had the same wind direction tomorrow, we could come right back in here with Sam hunting. We could pick a tree based on that movement where we think they're coming out of the woods and set up. But tomorrow we're supposed to get a wind direction that's opposite. So we'll go to a spot tomorrow where we can observe a lot of morning movement and also have an opportunity to shoot something. And then, based on what we see, we'll make a game plan for tomorrow afternoon.